turn a cinema out even further to the margins.
Jessie, can you just talk about your revenue to date on the film?
Well, I mean, it's very early days, and we're only been distributed in the UK, and we're being launched in the States in March, and I guess France sometime next year, and hopefully other territories. I mean, we, in a way, we have taken a fairly traditional route in the sense that we have signed with distributors in the UK and the US directly ourselves, so at least we've cut out the sales agent there. We put it into loads of festivals, and then after 7 or 8 months we decided to get a sales agent to try and get some other territories on board. I mean, the only thing that we said is we don't want to do a theatrical because we know that it's going to cost a lot of money. And that we are trying all sorts of other routes, using the internet and communities and all this kind of stuff to get people to know it's out there. I mean, our experience on the last film was that it went to theatric and we didn't see hardly any money at all for years. So this time we thought, like you, get nearer to the revenue, so just, do as much as we can to make sure we deal with honest distributors, because, the last film, they went bust, which wasn't very much help. And, to do a more straightforward deal with them, basically. And, hopefully to...
And did they allow it? Did you broker a non-traditional deal?
I think it's pretty traditional. The only difference is we said we don't want a theatric, and they said excellent. Because they know how difficult it is to get into cinemas in this country. They've got films lined up, year old, waiting to get into some cinema somewhere,
And Marie, taking away the theatrical, I mean, is one allowed to go to a distributor and say, "Can I keep my video on demand? You can have my broadcast."
I'm not in acquisitions, but there's a lot of films that we, as a distributor, are pretty much our model is at the moment that we do 1 theatrical a month and about 3-4 DVDs, and so those are classic vintage titles, some are new. And if you come to a lot of distributors, I think these days, and say, I'm not looking for theatrical, the distributor's not going to be making its money on theatrical anyway. The only thing that the theatrical is really going to be doing for a lot of features is raising the profile and getting a lot of the press that would normally be generated through a theatrical release. And so I think if you go to them and say, I want to do this on DVD, I want to raise the profile online, I think there's going to be a lot of happy, especially independent distributors out there.
There was definitely last year you were told distributors would not do that. They want everything or nothing. Perhaps you'll sometimes theatrical rights. If you go to them and say, look, we want to withhold theatrical rights, I don't know. Theatrical's fine. I'm sure they want to drop theatrical, but it's that thing of sort of you can't ask for broadcast and drop video into mine. Yeah. Is that they sort of wanted the package of the
I think people are becoming a lot more flexible. It's like when you look at the way that I hate to keep going back to Florida Monsters, but they're probably the most model to keep referring back to at the moment. That the way that they made a lot of their money online was, just to refer back to the point about saying giving things for free. They gave away their film for free on YouTube, but they gave it away at low quality because, of course, the streaming costs and so on, and you're not going to have the streaming quality at the moment to give these films. I don't think you can stream films at great quality in this country at the moment to really justify the same costs as you would for DVD or theatrical releases. But what they did was they said, right, okay, you've watched it for free on this, now you want to see it in the cinema, you want to get the DVD, and they bundled together other merchandise and said, right, for X amount of money you can buy this, for X amount of money you can buy this, and then we'll give you the iPod, we'll give it to you on your iPod, we'll give it to you to have on your hard drive, we'll give it to you on DVD, we'll give you the soundtrack, we'll give you loads of other stuff. And I think that there's something within that, and there's something also within offering people the quality that you can't get through watching things on YouTube and watching things for free illegally. And it's exclusivity of this film has just come out, it's just new, it's the newest film by such and such. Once you've built up that reputation as a filmmaker, I think you can perhaps demand a little bit of that exclusivity and say, once you've cultivated that community online of interested users, then you can say, right, you want to pay £3 to watch this at home with your computer, which by X year, goodness knows whatever is now going to be connected to your computer, connected to your TV, watch it streamed on that, pay for it, then get the DVD in the post the next day. I think that there's something within that, definitely. But I think originally as a filmmaker, you've got to build up that, you've got to raise your profile. And I know that's what you said before, it's raising your profile. How can you do that? Against all very successful other methods of advertising.
I think for Son of Man, because our investor in South Africa, he's not desperate for his money back, so we don't have to seek distributors in other territories and have a minimum guarantee. We can afford to be a bit more experimental, and we have every intention of giving the film away for free, but it's about timing. So we intend to have a bit of a theatrical in the traditional and non-traditional sense of the word, have a DVD release, have a broadcast, and give it away for free on the internet. And I think you can do it all as long as your timing is right. And when you give it away for free, you could put it on YouTube and partner with YouTube and get sponsorship money for it, or ad money from it, or you can seek separate sponsorship and separate advertisers on your own website to generate money from it. But by that time, we already have merchandise that can accompany the film. We have a soundtrack to the film. We've got stills from the film that we can create greetings cards. So we've got merchandise to go alongside that. So by the time the film is given away for free over the internet with ad sponsorship alongside it, we'll have merchandise that people think, oh, that was really interesting, or I really like the music. The quality might not have been great, but I can then buy the DVD or I can then buy the CD. So I think it's really important about timing and what else you could do to market your film and what can go alongside it to make you money.
Do you have revenue projections in terms of that kind of type of distribution? Have you worked
In terms
out
of
how many,
advertising?
or is it just purely an experiment and you'll see how much?
It is an experiment, although we have, obviously, UCommon to reflect back on, which a sales agent took up, but it's very, very different. In terms of theatrical, we will charge a set fee for, say, a church to hold a screening, which we'll get 50% and they will get 50%. So depending on the size of the church, we're entirely negotiable, basically. Advertising online, I believe you get 70p a play of your film through a general advertiser. So by the time a year's up in the UK, we've had our distribution, we've had it broadcast. That 70p is, profit for us, essentially, if we get the marketing strategy right in the first place. And we haven't got a distributor in the US. We've had several offers, but we've turned them down, and we want to take the US on ourselves. But we're being even more experimental in that, in the sense that we're not seeking and holding exhibitors' screenings for the cinemas, that we're letting churches host their own screenings, we're letting communities host their own screenings. And so it will be available on the internet at the same time as their release in the States. So we can afford to be experimental at the moment, not in the sense that we've got lots of money to play with, but that we don't need it back as quickly.
But you still guaranteed that money back that you've made the film for? I mean, you still expect to get the money back for the cost of the film, which was, what was it, 450,000?
We do, although we had some funding for that, so that's soft money. So we do expect to profit from the distribution of this film. Is the underlying factor. But, it's an experiment at the same time. If we don't profit, then Spear Films won't be putting any more money into South African film. So we've got an incentive there in itself to make it work. But I think we've got the communities there to help it.
Could I ask, if I'm a filmmaker and want to approach one of the companies who are doing video on demand, Arts Alliance or something like that, what is a good kind of split, do you think, in terms of revenue?
For video on demand?
Yeah, for rental and for buying.
I think it's so I don't know if you know. I know that at the moment the problem that we're coming across is that with companies like Arts Alliance, who do have deals with companies like Love Film, and I think it's Fizumi that they have deals with, that the revenue split is not in the favour of the filmmaker or the distributor at the moment, because for one, there's not enough money coming back from video on demand. We probably sell some of our titles, sell perhaps about eight copies per month, which just isn't a viable model at the moment. But I know that split at the moment isn't in favour of. It's not in the favour of the filmmaker. It's not. I can't say exactly what our splits are, but it's definitely not in the favour of the distributor at the moment.
Has anyone else got any experience of figures?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't remember. Again, I don't know. I don't actually know the numbers with our guy, but I mean, I don't think it was particularly. It was better than sort of the split we get if on a DVD, but not that much better.
I think companies like Jalapay, which is who
they're quite good. Whereas some other Love Film or one of them is terrible.
Love Film, and I think the issue with Jalapay was great in the sense that they don't cost for encoding; they will encode your film for you. But I think the also problem is the same sense, is that if you're going into it as an independent and unknown filmmaker, you're essentially charging people to watch your film when they're just like, well, hang on a minute, 4AD over here. Granted, it's not a perfect play; it's 40 to the play on Max, which is what I don't use, but you've got right. I'm fighting against a whole world of content online, as we all know, and even high quality content that you're fighting against to